Hello, hello, and welcome back to Metaphysical Money here on Substack. If you're watching this on YouTube, I also own Beacon Rock and do all kinds of things. So you're probably getting this one of a couple of different places. Today, I have Kyle Browne with me. She is the founder of Art in the Raw. She is an artist, educator, and a feminine embodiment coach. And I am so excited to hear from her today. So, Kyle is one of the contributors to this quarter's Quantum Business Almanac, and she wrote an absolutely fantastic article for us on embodiment. And then I am obsessed with her art. So, my mom is also an artist, and I love Kyle's art. It's so different compared to like what I grew up with and what I am used to. So I am so excited to learn a lot more from her today. Kyle, go ahead and tell us all of your details because I am guaranteed to mess them up. So I'm going to let you go with the details so that there's no errors.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to be coming to you today from my studio. It's a place that I is a sacred space for me in terms of actually having the time to be here and do work and create. So I've been a practicing artist for over 20 years. I mean, to be honest, I started when I was very little, like single digits, and have not stopped creating since then. I have been in the world of education for a long time, running programs for all ages, teaching, all arts related. And my newest venture is in the raw art and embodied coaching, and that stemmed from my own exploration of the feminine within my artwork, and really feeling like the world needs more of that, and putting that out into the world. And then after working with that for the last 5 years, I decided that I really wanted to support women more. I wanted to do more with all this that I've been learning through my own personal mastery, but also doing a feminine embodiment coaching training and all of my own self-development work. So now I am launching an embodied coaching with the same name as my art that I've been working on in the feminine and the past 5 years. So in the raw art and embodied coaching, and I'm just really excited. I'm focusing on creativity and coming back to your own creative nature with some like really juicy bits in there.
I really, really love that. So, also, if you look at human design, Kyle and I also have the same profile line. So, she's very exploratory, but she also is really good at mirroring you back to yourself. So, it's always interesting when I'm talking with her because I know that in many ways she is a mirror to myself and I am a mirror to her. And so, um, even just in the name of your art and in your coaching, that in the raw speaks so much to me. So I have never been a diamond girly. Granted, I have not been much of a girly my whole life. So like I grew up very masculine energy, quite the tomboy. I didn't learn how to do my own makeup until YouTube taught me to do it for my wedding. Like it, I wouldn't wear pink until I was 23. Like it's for us to both show up in pink
I
today.
know.
We laughed really hard when we opened the Zoom. So like that is really, really helpful. But for me, one of the ways that I did look at diamonds was I always have been very, very intrigued by raw diamonds and raw stones and how they come to you just out of the earth. And so I really, really love just the naming convention of everything that you have going on. So
Mm.
for your coaching, you
Mhm.
are just starting this coaching adventure. What really prompted you to decide to go from doing art and teaching into more of that one-on-one container with coaching or even as a small group?
Yeah, love that question. So like I kind of mentioned before, so I started really exploring the feminine in my artwork, and you can see more of that on my website as well. And there's a lot of very feminine focused imagery, and I've always been really interested in the natural world and in how, again, like the natural world, we're talking about mirrors. The natural world is also a mirror. The natural world's also been such a teacher for me. And you'll notice in my art imagery, I integrate a lot of natural objects with figurative, so like with the body. And um, what trying to think of the sequence of events. So I was invited to do a residency at this wonderful place called Manship's Artist Residency in Gloucester, Mass, which is actually where I'm from. And part of that, they invited me to do a site-specific sculpture, but also do a public program. And I didn't know what I was going to do for the public or either actually. And that was part of me like being on the land, sensing the land. I have a practice of sensing the land, like trying to understand the consciousness of place,
Mm-hmm.
through spirit, through history, through geography. And what that led to was a site-specific performance, but it was an intuitive performance. And I was really trying to dig into and listen to this inner world, right? And trust what I call, the feminine energy, this intuition. And I collaborated with this incredible jazz musician, Stan Strickland. Um, and the performance that we did was in front of a live audience. I've never done anything like this. This is usually the stuff I keep secret, like my little performative, research, I keep very secret. This was, yeah, probably about 50 people showed up. We were performing on a quarry. I was rowing a boat, but we really called in the natural world. And again, I think of the natural world as like Mother Earth, this like this feminine energy again, in spirit. And what there was this huge shift within me to like accessing that. And what happened after is that people started asking me, how did you channel the divine feminine? How did you get there? And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? And it was everyone there felt it, saw it, that we had opened up. My collaborator, he really brought in the divine masculine. I really brought in this divine feminine. And it really started me thinking hard. And I actually was very, very challenged for almost 6 months as I was really grappling with this question like, well, it's just me, it's just who I am, but how do I share that with others? And I think being a teacher, that's part of my path is I always want to share my learnings with others. And so it took me a good 6 months before I really felt like I had this sort of, if you want to call it a download or realization, aha moment of sort of these four pillars. I like to maybe use the word elements because pillars kind of denotes to me like the masculine. So I try to, use words and language that are a little bit more feminine leaning, which was intuition, wonder, pleasure, and creativity.
Love that.
And that just came to me almost like in a wave.
Mhm.
And then from that, and again, it was very challenging. But then when it came, it was just like this breath, like, oh, I've got it. But then with that, I realized that, if I really want to be doing this work, if I really want to be supporting women, yes, I'm doing it with my artwork, getting feminine imagery out there, trying to, put it out more in the world, also working with women. This is the other thing is I started doing custom work for women one-on-one,
Mhm.
and that I found out started to be kind of like my favorite work, to
Mhm.
create a sculpture for them, like individually. I felt very honored. It felt very intimate. Um, and so, but after I got this information, I really felt like I needed a little bit more support myself
Mhm.
to to yeah, to bring more impact to women. And I started doing some research and I ended up finding out about the embodied coaching and feminine embodiment coaching. And I'd never heard of it before. I researched it. I talked to the people that ran this program, and I was like, you know what? I never really expected to go into coaching work, but
Mhm.
this feels so aligned that
Mhm.
I'm going to say yes.
Love.
And that's how I got there.
Fantastic. So, you have your four elements, and I really really love those because definitely with the creativity and
Mhm.
and everything, it really speaks to all those areas that I feel I am lacking in.
Mhm.
um and I look at the transits when I'm looking at these things. So I my
Mhm.
calendar is not normal. I try to hold on a facing level, a very traditional like Monday through Friday 9 to 5. But if you look
Mm.
at my calendar just as like what days are labeled, I have gone in through both human design, I Ching, mandala, astrology, and my calendar is set up so that I have rest and relax days, I have creative days, and then I have days where
Mm.
I work on
Mhm.
the mundane. And so like it changes every single month. There's not like a standard set number of days. It's not like every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's like whatever is energetically aligned so that I can really help balance a lot of that creativity versus like, working in the
Yeah.
spreadsheets like I love to do. And that's my, very masculine type work for me, unless I'm building
Mhm.
a dashboard or something, because that's very visual. But interestingly enough, over the summer, well, I guess it wasn't summer, it was April. That's not summer. Um, on my creative days, one of the things that I did was build a shed,
Oh, wow.
which for my goats, because they needed a shed. But like logically, um,
Yeah.
but it was something that I don't normally do. And for me, it felt very, very creative. So I think maybe my question that all that story is leading up to is when you're talking about embodiment and feminine embodiment, give us a clue as to how we can tap into that just in our day-to-day life, and
Mhm.
also like a glimpse and a glimmer of what working with you looks like and what kind of like those little glimmers that we're pulling from as we're working through our day-to-day
Yeah.
mundane masculine and feminine balance.
Yeah. So before I get to that, I did just want to say, like, I relate a lot to your story. Like, I still do my makeup with my fingers. Like, right? Like, I still like when I was little, I wanted to be a boy. Like, I have a journal entry from when I was 9 years old that says, I wish I could be a boy, but because I can't, I'm going to be an artist. And there's like,
Mm-hmm.
I have like a drawing of it. I did see like, oh, it's like, I did see, I'm like, oh, the boys are getting to do all the fun stuff or whatever it was, my little brain at that moment,
Mm-hmm.
and I always wore like the boy shorts. Like I was very, I guess kind of natural, but like not not tuned in to like this like girly stuff. Like I never had a dream of my wedding. I never, it's like I felt very disconnected from that. Like my girlfriends were imagining these things and I was like, I just want to go like outside and get dirty. Like I just want to like play and like, go swimming, like run on the rocks, so I just wanted to say that like I also like it's been a transition and a transformation to me. And also like, once I got into the working world, trying to be an artist, that's like it is a mind fuck, sorry for my language, right? It does not follow a conventional like business model. There, it's really hard to find people to look at that have something successful unless you um want to prescribe to either like starving artists or you have a stroke of genius or, you're a trust fund, kid. So, and I'm none of those. So, um, I found myself in a very like I worked in academia or I still work in academia. And I was really steeped in this go, 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 living in a city that's also very steeped in a go, 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 right? And productivity and this like capitalist way of thinking. So it has been a journey for me, and I'm still going through it to separate, from this and
Mm-hmm.
bring in. And I think just in the past few years, I just started realizing how it was important for my health and the way that because I'm a very emotional being, the way that I connect with the world and I felt like I was sabotaging myself, honestly. If I, look back and I still, again, like things I'm still working through. And, um, and so and then also starting to see like, oh wow, there are so many people like me who are have sabotaged themselves, still sabotaging themselves because we're trying to fit into a system that just isn't working.
Hmm.
And we're made to feel bad that we're not fitting into it.
Hmm.
So, okay, sorry. I just
Oh,
wanted to say
mm,
that as like
I like it.
because I was like, I totally relate to you too.
Yeah, totally.
Um, and so just to go back to your question, and I have to like remember what you asked me. Um, in terms of, so you were asking me what are some things that I do or that
Yeah,
to
give
like
us a
into the
glimpse
embodiment.
into what embodiment means for you and like some of those glimmers of like what kind of walking with you as our guide through a transformation of
Yeah.
being more embodied in our feminine
Yeah.
power.
So it's definitely a different path for everyone. I'm just gonna say
Mhm.
that. The way that I work with people would be very tailored, you know, to their individual journey and what they're going through, or where they, you know, what outcome they want to receive. But for myself, like I said, the way it started was through my art. It was through the making process and just letting what came out of me come out of me without judgment.
Mm.
Um, so, and when I started making the sculptures that are sort of like this iconic thing for the in the raw, they're called bivolvas. It was about working with the clay
Mhm.
and just like that intimate process of playing, of like you're saying, like experimenting, like what is going to come out of this, right? And not everybody that I'm going to work with, and obviously in the world, you know, wants to make art, has a desire to do that, or is, you know, has the skill to do that, or feels capable of it, or, and so little things that um, I do to bring more embodiment into my world that's not so much like in my art studio. And I would say actually more maybe happens outside, right? So
Mhm.
that's where I calibrate
Yeah.
before I create. Um, one is movement practice.
Mhm.
So moving, I find moving really helps me get into my body. I do a lot of qigong. Like I've been doing qigong for many years, and I pick and choose which things work for me.
Mhm.
Um, Also breath work, something like breath of fire, I find like really invigorating, really resets me, helps me yeah, just bring like really positive energy into my body. And also nonlinear movement. So
Mhm.
I think one of the things that, you know, I grew up dancing, I grew up ballet. Oh my God. Talk about rigid, right? Talk about rigid movement. Now I'm like, I will not do anything where like I am told what to do in dance.
Mhm.
And so um moving away from that choreograph, like you must follow a certain, you know, system here, you must follow like these instructions, and really trusting your body to move in a
Mhm.
way that it wants to move. And so it could even just be bringing in so something that I'm developing as a workbook around the elements to bring in more creativity around the elements, right?
Mhm.
And so bringing in, let's say, like air, right?
Mhm.
What you could might even just close your eyes and just like breathe in. What would air feel like? And then just let your body move in a way that might feel a little lighter, right? Try to like, you know, just like bring that down to your feet, you know, just like that's that term like embodying, right? Bringing into
Mhm.
your body
Mhm.
and trusting, right? I think that's the whole thing is we get embarrassed. Do this like behind closed doors, like whatever you want. You just look ridiculous. Who cares, right? That's kind of the point. Is to just trust like whatever movement comes up,
Mhm.
right? And I've gone through a whole process myself with this process. It's called a technique called primal feminine flow,
Mhm.
and that where you bring in, you know, either like challenges or how you want to feel pleasure, what you want to magnetize, and really bring that into your body and just
Mhm.
listen.
Mhm.
And a lot of people think that it's these like big movements that are going to get us this release of energy. And yes, they do at times, but I've really found like the power is in the subtlety.
Mm-hmm.
in these really slow mo or subtle movements where you're just paying attention to your body.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, another big part of my practice is being out in nature.
Yeah.
And, noticing this idea, like I brought up, of wonder, bringing that childlike perspective to what we're looking at
Mm-hmm.
and this curiosity of, when I take a walk, like I love going to the ocean. That's my place. Of what I find that the tide is left behind, right? Or again, like just being playful with like dipping my toes in the ocean and really being present in that moment of how it feels. Maybe it's freezing cold and I'm freaking out, or maybe it's just like this like wonderful lapping that I like really am appreciating in that moment. So those pieces really, really influence me.
Love that. Okay, so I have a couple follow-up comments, and I do
Okay.
really good to not interrupt.
Okay.
Um, so this weekend there is, so I have a playlist called Piano Dissertation Disassociations.
Oh,
um Not dissertations, not, is that
oh, I
not
was like, wait, what?
not that
You know,
educational. It's just
okay.
a
I was like, okay.
disassociation. But one of them this weekend brought me to a place where I was able to really step into that water aspect of myself, because I have a Cancer rising. So
Mm.
I was able to dance as if I was a mermaid or a siren. And it was really, really cool. But I one of my favorite memories of my mother was watching her just dance to music. It was
Hmm.
dark. She would turn on the music so that she could hear it and try to not wake us up. And I there was this, a couple times where I woke up and just seeing her dance to her music. And it was one of the most influential things that actually I can now connect to my spiritual journey now.
Mm.
And so like that is wonderful. However, the judgment part comes from my little
Mhm.
sister, because she always asks me if I'm having a seizure when I'm dancing. and and so I have my own rhythm. I think it really has to do with a lot of being somewhere on the spectrum and having, like some audio processing thing.
Well,
Yes,
do
I get that judgment, but also
yeah.
freeing is to be in that moment by
Yeah.
yourself and just
Mm.
move with how you feel like moving, and that intuitive movement is so great. Um
Yeah. Can I just interrupt? So one of my, just like briefly, like one of my favorite like practices in Qigong is shaking. Okay. And you're literally just like jumping up and down and shaking. And like they always say, like, if you're shaking and you're smiling, like you can't not be happy. It's like,
yes.
look ridiculous, but it's like, it feels so good.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you could tell us a little bit more about Qigong, because one of the things that I
Oh
love
yeah.
to
Okay.
do
Great.
is we have all of these different modalities that we bring in.
Right.
A lot of times people don't know what the heck a modality name actually means. So can you tell everybody who doesn't know about Qigong what it is?
Yeah, yeah. So I would say I am not like the most researched on Qigong. I just know it works for me.
Mhm.
And it is like I have actually this like really darling story about how I started, because
Mhm.
I was going through a time like, like we all do, where I was having really ebbs and flows of energy. I'm trying to balance my own energy a few years ago, and I was in the park. I feel like this is just like how Qigong is supposed to show up in your life.
Mhm.
I was in the park and I was going for runs, and I kept seeing this older man doing what I believed was like some sort of energy technique.
Mhm.
And eventually I went up to him and I was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, do you want to practice with me?" So I ended up staying and did this whole, like, we actually watched a video
Mhm.
together, and we practiced Qigong together in the park.
That's
And then he
awesome.
gave me, yeah, and we ended up becoming friends, and we're neighbors. And so, but he ended up sharing his resources with me. And so that's how I started to practice. So Qigong is an energy technique. It's like thousands of years old. It was started in Asia, I believe, in China, and it really is about moving energy through the body, right? And connecting, again, lots of very close connections with nature. Every movement has a name, and every movement relates to things that are happening inside of you,
Mm.
right? So it might be that a movement might activate the thymus gland, a movement might activate the kidneys. A lot of it comes back actually to your creative and abundant center, which
Mhm.
is the womb or the pelvic area, that center of
Mhm.
your body, where you're building energy. And always at the end of a practice, it's like you bring your energy back to that area of your body. And the goal of the practice is that you've renewed your energy in your body. And now you go through a process of actually like feeling that energy and then holding it like a ball and then bringing it back into that center. And they call it or I don't know, I somewhere I read it was called like a bliss pearl,
Mm.
a bliss pearl. And when I found that out, and I work a lot with oyster imagery, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I was
Love
so kind of
that.
thinking, yeah. And I usually follow that my practice also with breath work, some Kundalini breath work.
Mhm.
Um, which I really feel like really activates me and yeah, transforms the energy as well.
Fantastic. So tell us about what you have coming up. So this will go kind of all the way through like intro into January. So what do you have coming up this fall that we can connect in with you at?
Yeah, yeah. So as April was saying, I'm at the beginning of really bringing my coaching to you into the world. And although I have been, I have been working with clients over the past 6 months or so, but I'm really, really defining, really like getting my niche together, and it is focused on igniting your creativity. So
Mhm.
really, this idea of how can we get back to our true creative nature, and the title of my or the name of my I guess my company, if you want to call it that, in the raw art. So that's like part of that, right? Is like what is our raw nature, right? And getting back to that truth within us. And one thing I didn't mention was just that all of the wisdom that I'm cultivating within you as a coach is your internal wisdom, right?
Mhm.
I'm guiding you. Really, it's just for me, it's like a witnessing of your divine feminine, of you accessing what you already know. I'm just helping you do it,
Right.
right? So you're coming to me, with all of the knowledge, all of the experience that you have, and I'm helping you mine that and knowing that you already are this beautiful creative being. We're just going to remove some blocks. We're going to find some limiting beliefs, and we're going to let those go off into the world because they are no longer serving us, right? Like they don't need to be here. I really, really want you to align with your true creative nature. I'm getting goosebumps right now because I just think the world would be in so much more harmony if we were all allowed and able to follow that ourselves, right? I think of the image of um or just like what happens in nature of like the sun leaning, I mean, sorry, not the sun, the flower leaning towards the sun, right?
Mhm.
If we're all allowed to lean toward what inspires us and what makes us grow
Mhm.
and to follow that, like I just think the world would be magic, like
That
honestly.
that is, and honestly, like just kind of like knowing your human design, that is very much your magic
Oh,
because of,
is it?
yeah, because of that karmic mirror that
Mm,
you have. And so you are able to see within your clients what their potential is in
hmm.
their divine feminine. And so
Yeah.
intuitively, you're able to reflect that back to them at the highest frequency of what they have possible. And
Mm,
that's amazing. So
yeah.
I'm super excited
Yeah.
for that.
Thank you.
We will definitely have all of the links to that down in the comments. But where else can we find you?
Yes.
You have Instagram, TikTok,
Yes, yes. So,
YouTube.
yeah, and what I was just to be more specific, like I am starting a longer container beta version this fall. And then in the winter, I'm going to be opening it up to more. But right now, I am welcoming if you want to do a single session or like a few sessions just on your own, just to try it out, just to get to
Mhm.
know me, or even do a discovery call. I'm like just like that's like a free time just to chat with me for half an hour, 45 minutes, just to learn more about what I'm offering or say hello. I'm here for it.
Awesome.
So I am on Instagram at in the raw art. No, sorry, let me just say that again. Instagram is in the raw.art. So at in the raw.art.
Mhm.
And my website is intherawart.com. I have a newsletter, so if you go on the website, you can sign up for my newsletter. I can also give you like a direct link to that as well that I send out. It's not like a lot. Right now I do, quarterly or a little bit more than quarterly, depending on what I have going on. Because I also am an artist. I still practice. I have exhibits. I have some exciting things coming up as an artist too. So you'll find
Awesome.
out about that as well.
That's super exciting.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I am so glad we had you on today.
So,
It's fun to read your article, but also just to get to know you so much better
yes.
and what you
Yes,
have
read
going
the
on.
article. I want to say thank you to April for inviting me to contribute because it was really helpful to even just like help synthesize for me, all of the things that I think about, the research I've done, in this idea of like how to rebuild the feminine and why it's important. So thank you.
Yes, yes. That transformation is really, really important. And I feel like especially as energetically, because this fall's theme is really about rebuilding. So, like energetically, both personally, professionally, business-wise, we had a lot of those like instant pot pressure cooker type
Mhm.
moments over the summer in all of those different categories. And so I feel like in many ways, so many of us have been stripped down to our foundation, and it's like, where do you grow from here? And so to have that, that guidance that you're offering people of like, let's recalibrate into what is feminine for you, what is creative for you, how can you rebuild with more of that rhythm and balance between both masculine and feminine, because right now, like just in America, worldwide, like we have so much masculine. So it's pretty easy to access that. But like when you rebuild with that rhythmic,
Yeah.
entwining nature, because you do need both.
Yeah.
Like that is absolutely fantastic to step into for this fall and into winter.
Mhm. Thank you. Yes, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yes.
And yes, yeah, what are they?
Awesome. So be sure to check out all of the links below. Anything that was mentioned will be in a link, either in the Substack article, or if you're watching this on YouTube, it will be in the show notes. Thank you so much for taking time to come on today, Kyle. And I can't wait to see where this goes for everybody and all of the transformations.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, I love being here. This is amazing.
Awesome.